What's up, folks? It's 2bricks, and I'm here with a twofer review today. That is because these two sets are, first of all, quite small and also designed to fit together, which is exactly what I've been wanting from LEGO. These two sets have me very, very excited and kind of make up for some of the, what I would call, odd decisions that were made with some of the play sets earlier in the year, where it felt like what we were getting didn't really add up to much and didn't really help with play. Whereas these ones right here are a perfect example of exactly what I want to see from the LEGO Star Wars playset end of things. So I'm super excited to show you these today and talk about them and to show you how they fit together and show you the figures, because this is very exciting stuff and it feels like a real treat for us LEGO Star Wars fans, especially here in the 25th anniversary year. I feel like we're getting a lot of really, really great stuff from the line, and this is no exception here. So let's jump in and take a look at these small little sets. We'll give you the details on each one and we'll take a look at them up close. So here we go. All right, so starting with the Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack. This is one of my favorite battle packs that we've gotten in a very long time, and I think that they made almost every decision correctly when it comes to this, so really, really excited about that. So we have a really normal standard instruction manual here, nothing fancy whatsoever, just the regular stuff, more of a booklet really than a manual. And then we have the spares pile, so we have all our usual selection of visors and rangefinders and things of that sort. A lot of people get confused as to why all these are in here. Basically, anytime that a figure comes with one of these rangefinders or one of these visors, they come as a pack from LEGO. Like they produce them together and they package them up. So if you get one, you get them all. So that's just how that works. And then just a couple of studs here, which you can use to put in your stud shooter. So technically not spares. And then one of these extra printed tiles for the jetpacks for the Imperial Commando troopers there. But yeah, other than that, nothing to write home about because it is a really tiny set. So obviously the main event is over here. So let's take a look. Okay, so what do we actually get with this set here? So we get this rock formation with a doorway and a little bit of an indication of some lights to make it Star Wars-y. Then we get this little swiveling arm here that we can mount a figure on. I'll show you that later on. We have a large-scale rifle here, which can be swapped out for one of these small blaster pistols. We have a mounted turret for the Imperial Commandos to use, although of course in your play scenario you can put whomever you want in it, and it has the little stud firing action. That thing's disappeared. And then we have a crate here with a couple of printed thermal detonator tiles in there. It's actually only calls for one in the instruction manual, but I just went ahead and put both in there. And then we have our Mandalorian Warrior, Mandalorian Night Owl, and our two Imperial Commandos here. So all of these figures look absolutely fantastic. I'll show you those up close in a second. But what I really want to discuss here is what usually doesn't get a lot of play in battle packs, which is this side build. So technically speaking, LEGO cannot just sell you a bunch of minifigures as a set, because Kenner owns the rights to Star Wars figures as a general thing. So minifigures have to go along with something buildable. And so when we get a battle pack, which is essentially just a bunch of figures, technically it's a building set because we have a side build, but usually it's a small inconsequential little vehicle, something that one or perhaps two of the troops can sit on. In this case, we actually get a nice bit of terrain, which for me absolutely works because in the scene that we're depicting here, there is very much a similar looking terrain to this. So it enables you to actually stage your figures in a battle. And that's what you want to be able to do, right? If you have a battle pack, you want to be able to see them fighting each other. And what's more, we have this little swiveling arm here that allows you to pose up a trooper on the jetpack, since this is a largely aerial battle. And having the crate that is actually the same build as the crate in the other build that we're going to take a look at in a second, and the little cannon placement here, it just really allows for a lot of dynamism with the figures. So you can have, you know, the two sides can be shown as either winning or losing depending on who's ducking for cover, who's flying around up above. You can switch it around like that, and you can have one character manning the turret and defending the crates, and then the Mandalorian's side comes in and takes over, and now they are holding the ammunition and the heavy gun emplacement, and the Imperial Commandos are on the run out of the gate here. So like, even though what you essentially have is a rock and a door and a piece of, you know, floor, it just adds so much to the overall value of the scene as a battle pack in a way that I have been wanting to see for a long time. And they've used the parts budget here, I think, very smartly. And it's a really nice parts pack for people who like to do rock work and things like that, like me, where these dark tan elements are going to be very, very useful for other mocks and things in future. So really, I am absolutely thrilled with this as a battle pack. So we'll just show you here. So you can actually swivel your jetpack trooper around, and you can have them fly in and sort of be really engaging up close, or you can have them obviously way off here in the distance, and you can pose them quite dynamically because, you know, these are just attached with a single stud onto the back of a foot here. So that allows for a great range of motion on the posing there. So that's a really useful little integration. One of the more useful ones that I've ever seen to kind of simulate flight in a Lego set. All right, so let's take a look at the main event here, the figures themselves. So here are your two Imperial Commandos. So I just taken off the head and helmet and the backpacks here so I could show you what they have on the backside. So here you can see the printing there. Very utilitarian, but useful in terms of showing all the pouches and things and how they continue around the back. It's fine and dandy. And then just the sort of, I guess the suggestion of like the magnetic plate or whatever it is that connects to and attaches the jetpack. So each one of the four figures that comes in this pack has a black head, and I actually think that that is a winning decision over the other understandable decision that LEGO made to include various different kinds of flesh tones and expressions and genders of all the different troopers. However, what that results in is collectors like myself having to have one of each of those that outwardly look identical, and then just the only difference is that they have a different color head on the inside, and it's a real pain in the butt to have to collect all of those. So selfishly, I actually like the move to just go back to basic black-headed characters for characters like this that are specifically, you know, covered up, designed to just be a unit of infantry in an army and not really have their own character or personality. I think that's actually totally fine. Plus, it's not like they're going to include hair for each of the characters when their helmets are off. So it's not super useful to have their helmets off anyway. And I think if it saves collectors some time and money and headache to be able to just say, I have the Imperial Commando, of which you get two in the set, then that's cool. And you have a spare, which you can then either keep for, you know, replenishing, you know, keep it tucked away, or you can sell it in order to help to expand your Lego collection. Can you tell that I've been collecting minifigures more lately? I definitely am thinking about this stuff and a lot more acutely aware of it than I used to be. And while I really love the diversity that we got with all of the different, like I said, genders and skin tones and expressions, it was kind of starting to become annoying purely from a collector standpoint. So then we have our Mandalorian warriors. Let me just show you what that looks like on the back. Very simple, scratched up Beskar plate there, and again the pouches on the bottom. The pouches on this one look a little bit better on account of how you can see the entire pouch, whereas on the Imperial Commando, due to the printing and the pouches being low down, you only get half of them on the back of that, so that's cool. And then here's the front. So again, lots of nice dings and scratches and wear and tear on all of the different armor pieces here. The Beskar has like the nice metallic printing on it, which I very much appreciate. And the jetpack just slips on here. And there you go with the black head. And I think that this particular Mandalorian warrior looks really nice with the, I like that they have the two different styles of helmet. So for the Night Owls, they went with the Bo-Katan style, which is appropriate. And then the more kind of chunky Paz Vizsla style or Mandalorian style for these regular guys here, absolutely works great. The printing on this is really nice and crisp and centered up correctly how you want to see. And again, I really appreciate all the little scrapes and scratches that makes it look like these guys have actually seen some action, and their Beskar didn't just come fresh off of the factory line. The gunmetal gray jetpack, as always, looks great. It's a really beautiful piece and always has been. And I like the regular size of blaster here, the more squared off Captain Rex blaster that really looks like a gun, like a human gun can shoot a person, and not necessarily a Star Wars weapon, but it feels more threatening than the more toyified guns, so I like it. But yeah, so there's your Mandalorian warrior, and then we'll just take a look quickly at the back printing here. So again, unique patterning in here for the attachment point for the you know, you get the little straps here for the chest plate, and also the unique damage pattern on there for the scuffs, and then also the pouches have a unique print to them as well, with the belt buckles having a little bit of extra silver on there versus the regular brown pouches on the other guy. And then we place the jetpack on here. Once again, taking a look at the helmet, and again, it looks great. You know, the metallic printing is really nice, and metallic and shiny, how you'd want it to be. And then the Night Owl insignia looks really good, and all of the little dings and scratches, once again, look really good. So yeah, I really appreciate this. I think this looks great. And the fact that they gave us two unique but similar looking Mandalorian warrior types means that if you are going to be one of those people who masses, gets 50 of these, you're going to have at least a little bit of variation in your army, but they're going to look unified because of the blue consistent color scheme across the two and the relatively similar printing styles of the, having the knee pads and the belt buckles look similar enough that you're going to read it as one army. So I really, really like that. I think, again, decisions made very, very smartly here. You have two factions represented generically enough that you can get a bunch of them and put them together, and it won't cause a stir. So really, really appreciate this. Yeah, this is great. Oh, and just for a quick second here, I wanted to just discuss this helmet mold for the Imperial Commando. It just looks so good to me. Like, I knew when we saw these in the show, these were going to be an absolutely epic Lego minifigure, and luckily I was correct. So these are dual molded. You can see here they have the gray and the white plastic and then the black printing on the top. And even the little bit of indented or concave section in here that has the printing on it, it just looks so nice, and it came out so perfect, and the production work on these is really, really good. So these are one of my favorite Stormtrooper or clone type designs. It's kind of a nice hybrid between the two that I've ever seen in Star Wars, and I'm really, really happy to be able to get two of these and have them be identical so that I can keep one in pristine condition and put the other one on my minifigure wall. So yeah, absolutely love these figures. Okay, and lastly, the price for this particular item. Do I think that it is worth the $20 asking price? I sort of do. I feel like, just looking at what you're getting here, it would be nice for this to be $15. That ship has sailed. Those days are over. The hyperinflation of everything, including Lego, has just, it's kind of set in now, and it's just become the standard, and that is super unfortunate. But honestly, I do think that there are no wasted calories, as it were, on this. And if you just purely look at the side build, there's nothing more than a fancy display stand for your characters to pose them dynamically. I think even then, it feels like a really good use of the parts. In the past, I have paid less money for battle packs, but felt more cheated by the builds that were included and the figure selection. And I think that what you're getting here is two incredibly excellent Imperial Commandos and two very good Mandalorians to add to your growing army. And that is what these are really intended for, army building. And I think that they do a great job of that. So yes, I do think, especially if you're intending to get the other set that I'm going to be taking a look at in a second and planning to connect them together, or even get multiples to connect together to make a larger scene, I do think that that price starts to feel less rough. But if you're just getting this on its own because you just purely want to get, like, say, one of these figures, I would say maybe don't. Maybe just go on Bricklink and purchase the figure that you want. Unless you're interested in what you see here as a whole package, I don't think it's going to be worth the $20 for you. But that's just my thoughts. And I do feel like I'm happier with this than I have been with a lot of battle packs in the past. So I hope that helps you make your decision. So yeah, let's take a look at the other set and then we'll connect them together. Before we get into the second review here, I just wanted to share with you guys a little pro tip. I've seen a lot of folks online complain that they hate these push tabs here for the thumb for the boxes, because they would like to keep their boxes pristine. And I just wanted to share with you what I do, particularly for myself. I take a brick separator and I jam it in the corner here, and then I just work this loose and this whole flap pops off. And then not only do I use this as a box to keep all of my parts in when I'm building, which is really nice, and you can put your instruction manual back here, but then when you're done, you can close it up, and if you really are one of those people who wants to keep your boxes in pristine condition, you can literally just glue it back together, and you'll never know that it was ripped. So that's a little 2bricks tip for the day. And next up we have the Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon battle set. So this one is a really fun little sort of G.I. Joe looking or James Bond villain looking kind of lair. I really, really appreciated that about it. I liked the whole setting of Moff Gideon's sort of secret underground lab. Again, it felt very silly and campy and James Bondy to me, and that was cool. So you have your sticker sheet here. All of these are, I think, very useful for capturing that Imperial look and making it feel like not just a generic gray door and a bit of Baroque work, but actually feel Star Warsy. So you have these two up here. You have two under the doors here that I'll show you in a second, and then a control panel in the back that is sort of an allusion to another set that you can get. It'd be really funny if the Aurebesh lettering on that set sold separately. But these were all easy to apply. The color matching on them was okay, except for the gray. I'll show you that when we take a look at that in a second. The gray was very bad, but it's on the inside of the door, so it's not that huge of a deal. And then we have the printed console piece back there, so no sticker for that, thank goodness. We have the regular old instruction manual again, nothing fancy here, like with the other one. So there you go. And then the spares pile here, we have a Technic pin with no friction ridges on it, which is nice. One of these really nice, useful handle pieces with the stud on the end. Those are good for lots of creative mock making. And then a couple of other little bits in here that are useful. The bar with the stud on the end, and the blank inkwell piece here as well, which is a useful one to have. At least for me, when I'm mock making, I use a ton of these for really nice small details. So those are good to have. And then moving on. So taking a look at this as a playset, I think this is really, really good. I think that the functions that they included in it are really nice. The door drop here is very cool. I'm a big fan of a door drop whenever you can do that. So you pull this up, it engages on its own, and then you use this to drop it down. And from the other side here, being as how the kind of main action of the scene here was Paz Vizsla getting sort of tricked into coming to this space and then getting locked in to fight the Praetorian guards. That was a wise choice, I think, of kind of main feature to do here for the main build. And the actual look of the door is really nice. I mean, it just screams Imperial, right? Like it's just got that look. And then we have another one of these crates, identical build to the other one. Again, I have placed 2 thermal detonators in it, even though you only called to do 1. It just feels weird to put 1 thermal detonator in a crate and call it a day. We have this little turret up here, which can rotate 360 degrees and is removable. So that's where you would keep your spare shots. That's actually, they actually tell you to do that in the instruction manual, to put those in there for spares. So you can have this as a separate emplacement off to the side. So it's designed to accommodate somebody like a Moff Gideon in here holding his hair in his hand so he doesn't lose it. But yeah, and he can just absolutely go ham and start shooting at everybody, which is nice. I like the fact that it feels like a tower, even including like a little window slit in here to kind of show that this could be like a pillbox type of a design or something to that effect, or this could be a light, something like that. You get 2 medium ugly rock pieces in here, which I really like. These are super valuable to me anyway as a terrain builder. And then you have a little lamp off to the side here. This is sort of like a dark side version of the famous lamp from the Grogu escape set. So that's cool. And then inside of here we have a little room, and that has that sticker on it that I mentioned before, which shows Moff Gideon's cruiser, which obviously is going to play a pretty significant role in this scene here. If you've seen the show, then you know what I'm talking about. And I think it's really nice to have that connectivity to previously existing Lego sets. I always like when sets feel like they are part of a larger thing and can be brought together in fun ways. And this is a really great kind of hub to bring together a lot of your Mandalorian sets into one, and I really, really dig that for it. So we have a couple of spots up here at the front where you can place figures standing at off angles, which I always appreciate. So there's, they spread the studs out here and there strategically so that you can have figures standing kind of naturally. And again, those Praetorian guards look so good standing right there. Can't wait to get into the minifig close-up and show those to you guys. But that's pretty much it, so you have your door activator action in there, which works really nicely. Your little secret room, so Gideon can be standing off to the side here and scheming, and then somebody can be manning the turret, and then Paz Vizsla is just lumbering around with his giant gun, ready to take on some baddies. So yeah, that's kind of the whole deal here for the set. So let's kind of get in and take a closer look at the figures. Oh, just really quick before I did say I was going to show you these stickers up close. So you can see there, the gray matching on these, absolutely abysmal, as per usual. I don't know what it is about light bluish gray in particular, but they just don't seem to be able to get that color right for stickers. And also my sticker sheet was a little bit offset, so I had to slightly place my stickers that you can see there off to the left in order to center up those red stripes. Again, not a huge deal, but for a company that prides itself on quality and perfection, I, as a consumer, have to do a lot more quality fixes on my end to try to make sure that it's as good as it can be, that I would prefer not to have to do. But, it is what it is. So yeah, let's take a look at the figs up close. All right, and here are the minifigures. And I should mention that I have one extra flat silver stud here that I was using. underneath Moff Gideon's hair to allow him to hold it in the previous shots there, so this did not get shown when I showed the extra pieces. So take that into account if you want. So I actually got confused a little bit when building this because these two Praetorian guards are identical, but the instruction booklet has you build them separately on 2 separate pages, and that is just due to the fact that they have different weapons. Usually what LEGO will do is have you do the figure as a 2 times, and then just show the 2 separate figures standing with the weapon builds added on, but they did it a little differently in this one. So I spent ages staring at these, trying to figure out if there was a difference between the two that I was supposed to be picking up on. There is not, so there's that. But yeah, so let's take a look at these all in order. So we'll start with Moff Gideon. The new helmet mold here looks absolutely incredible. The horns and everything are printed exactly the way, or molded exactly the way that you would want. The little notch in his chin there looks perfect. The red printing across for the visor and the little kind of jaw lines looks so good. I mean, it's basically like he's trying to cosplay as Sauron and Darth Maul all at once, and I'm absolutely 100% here for it. Say what you will about Moff Gideon, the man had style. So they give you the extra hair piece here for him, which I really, really appreciate. This is the mustacheless Moff Gideon, which led a lot of people to speculating that this was actually a clone and not the real Gideon because he had a mustache previously, but maybe he just shaved, I don't know. But he's got the really nice level of printing detail all the way through here for his armor. It was kind of hard to see in the show. The armor was, all black, and it was difficult to pick out all of the details, but obviously, LEGO here doing a great job. They have access to all of the behind the scenes materials and stuff for that. So they have, the ability to depict it really accurately. We have a nice little printed tile in here for the backpack, and it's got a little bit of unique detailing there with the red and white lights, which I really like. And this new jetpack piece that LEGO's been using recently looks really, really good to me. So, let me show you his alternate expression before I take the head off. So there you have Angry Gideon. And I like all the little subtle detailing in here to really make it look like Giancarlo Esposito. He's got the little bit of lines underneath the sort of the sunken eyes or the cheeks there, the kind of high cheekbones that he has, and a little bit of angry forehead ridge. So I really appreciate that. They tried to differentiate this from being just a standard looking minifigure. And I think that looks so much like Gideon. That's really, really good. So yeah, big bravo on that one. So let me pull off the back here so you just see the back printing behind the pack. So there that is. And I think that this body piece is, it's obviously a very valuable figure, so you're probably not going to want to use it for any kind of other purposes. But if you did want to, say if you ended up with a bunch of these and you wanted to create sort of a army of dark troopers and maybe switch out the helmet for something less recognizable, I think this is a useful enough body piece for that. And I think that looks really good. So yeah, there's Gideon. And I really appreciate the inclusion of the extra hair there. That's great. So next up we have Paz Vizsla. I'll do a little comparison at the end between the first figure and this one because they are unique. I actually don't think that they needed to do a unique figure for this. I think that it's very, very similar to the original one. But, it is what it is. They changed it a little bit, and there you go. We have the head ding there, so it kind of looks like Boba Fett a little bit. And again, really nice printing in here for the mixture between the metallic and the kind of the blue scraped up showing through there. Yeah, really, really nice. Or I guess the Beskar metal is showing through the visor printing that has been scraped off. That's really great. The shoulder piece there with the sigil on it looks awesome. The brick built backpack is always appreciated with the kind of tanks on it. They look like scuba tanks almost, but I guess that's for fuel for his gigantic blaster here. We have the squared off end barrel, which I think works really well. It's kind of unique look for that. He can't actually really hold on to this, but they give you the indication for the 2 handles there. So you can sort of place it near his hand, and I think that totally works, especially if you just angle the helmet this way a little bit. He totally looks like he's firing off and using both hands to hold onto it. So that's really nice. Let me pull off. So black head once again. Pull off the backpack piece and show you everything that's going on underneath here. So kind of like what they did with Saw Gerrera and a lot of these type of characters, they have essentially the same detailing underneath. Although in this case, it's actually more detailed than what we get on the actual front-facing piece. So you have really nice detailing in here with all the little nicks and dings and scrapes, and the little pouches as well look great on this. And same in the back here, just a really nice, obviously there's no print detail for this because we just have the piece that connects to the backpack. So here you actually get to see the back plate detailing, and again, it looks great. It's a shame that it's mostly hidden when the figure is in action, but at least you can see the bottom part of it, so that looks good. And then yeah, you just again place all these things back here like so. And then, again, I don't mind the black head because we never got to see Paz Vizsla's face with his helmet on or off, because he's a true Mandalorian warrior. So yeah, that was fair, since we have never gotten to see what he looks like. Lego was probably kind of prohibited in what they could do in terms of how they could depict this particular character, so totally understandable there. And then once again here, the Praetorian Guards looking absolutely phenomenal. The level of detail here is not quite as high as like the Sith troopers that had the incredibly intricate tiny little lines and things printed on them. I'm just thinking of other red stormtroopers, but as a Praetorian Guard, this looks fantastic. And again, new helmet mold in here, and the printing for the eyes looks really good. Again, it's giving me kind of Lord of the Rings vibes a little bit for some reason, like maybe because this looks like an Uruk-hai sword. That could be it. And then just printing for the pauldrons and everything down there, totally fine. I don't think that these needed to have the skirt piece like the Snoke's guards did, or a cloth pauldron or anything like that. The printing absolutely serves the purposes that you need for this. So his weapon here is just an electro staff, double-sided, and then this one here gets the sort of extendo baton. So none of these look particularly threatening, and I always think it's kind of funny when the Praetorian Guard will like do a move to like extend this out like a nightstick, and it just like kind of looks a little silly. Like, okay, you have a pink glowing club, congratulations. And these guys always get killed off pretty quickly, thus proving that their weapons are in fact ineffective and silly. But there you go. So there's your two Praetorian Guards. Again, totally the same body printing, totally the same helmet mold, just has the unique weaponry there. So if you're paying attention to the brickset.com rules of minifigures, this is just the same figure. We don't count weaponry. So again, if you are just looking to get one of every Star Wars figure like myself, then you will have a spare that you can do with what you will. So that's really nice. All right, so what you are looking at here is a $40 Lego set. Do I think that this is worth $40? Well, that's a complicated question. My gut reaction is to say no, because what we're looking at is essentially a door and a piece of wall and 4 figures, right? However, as far as the actual sort of build here goes, it does have a decent amount of depth, and the playability of it is pretty good. But the actual piece count on this is what is it exactly? 289 pieces. So that is low by any metric, but especially if you're just looking at price to part ratio, it is very low indeed for the price. However, you have to take into account there are larger elements. There are new molds, so we have the new helmets here and here, and a ton of exclusive printing and things like that goes into making minifigures, yada yada. I get it, right? But it still doesn't quite feel like $40. But what's interesting is when I place the other set alongside of this, which I'm about to do, it starts to take on a slightly different feel, and it's an interesting thing. Like, it's somehow the sum of its parts comes out to feel like more than it is. So again, it's one of those things where I think if you're really after a particular figure, probably just better to go and source that particular figure online yourself. But if you like the whole of what you see here, and you think that the overall effect, especially if you're connecting the two, is worth it, then I think you're not going to be disappointed. It's a for what it is, the build here is very straightforward, but it feels satisfying, and the actual kind of presence of this is a little bit better than I thought it would be. It's a little more depthful, and it feels substantive. It feels like a complete location in a way, even though it is still a fairly tiny thing. Like, if you just look down at it a little bit more, and you kind of get more of a sense of the floor space that you have in here to work with and pose figures on. So if we place, you can place your 2 Praetorian Guards here, and then Paz in the middle, getting absolutely wrecked. It all fits in here the way that you would want it to, and I guess Moff Gideon's hair can hide out back here along with the crate. And what you end up with is a pretty nice feeling thing in terms of what Lego charges, for playsets in 2024. I don't think it's terrible, but I do think that if you could get it on sale, you'd be happier. And if you're buying this and the other one together and you're trying to look at that as a $60 set, I think that it somehow feels a little bit more like it. So let's put those together and we'll take a look at them together and you can kind of make up your own final conclusions about that. So here everybody is. So let's start doing some combinations and see what we can do. So we have the 2 crates here. I'm just going to put those off to the side. I really do like how they feel like they're part of the same environment due to being the same build. Even down to the cargo that's included inside. So off to the side here we can do, there's a little clip connector here and a clip right there, so you can just place this side by side to create a longer diorama, so you can sort of work from right to left like the initial battle, then moving deeper into Moff Gideon's lair, and then coming through the door, and then finally the trap is sprung and the door closes. So I think this feels like a pretty nice progression, although my brain wants things to go from left to right when I'm looking at a visual progression, just because of how I've been trained by movies and comic books and things over the years. So let's try swapping that around. All right, so this one gives you a little bit more of a corner configuration. So you can just imagine battling your way through the door here and coming around the back and then through this door and again springing the trap. And so this feels like a lot more of a sort of a, well, it's a unique way to display it. So I think that's really cool. And then Moff Gideon's hair is very important. It's off to the side here. And yeah, this just kind of gives it a different vibe entirely. Like the feeling of going into a space that is indicated by just, having this open space back here. It just feels sort of like you now have a new stage in here in which to set up figures and things. Obviously you're looking at the back side of these, so you're not getting a lot of pretty views of, the different pieces, the anti-studs and things like that. But I think that this actually has a nice flair to it as well. But yeah, so let's try out a couple of other combinations and see what else we can do. Okay, so those are the only 2 official ways to connect them together, but of course we can use our imaginations. So I actually like placing them like this, opposite sides, so switching the figures around so that all of the baddies are on the one side and all of the goodies are on the other. And then that way you can imagine this chasm in between where the goodies have to fly over here and engage with the baddies along the way and make their way over to this, platform. So you're imagining a big deep pit underneath here where this blank space is, and so that's cool. And then here I just took a small piece of the rock that was included over here that just sort of sloped off of the edge, and I've attached it over here to make a connection point between these two to have that nice left to right horizontal battle that I was referring to earlier on that I would love to see. So in this one you can sort of imagine the goodies having to make their way across and fight everybody to get up to Moff Gideon, who's hiding up in the tippity top of this little tower here. So, they have to take out the turret gunner and they have to take out the little stationary emplacement down here and then make their way up and capture Gideon. So, there's a lot that you can do with just the combination of pieces here. And that doesn't even include taking anything apart, except for obviously this teeny tiny bit of rock, and actually just fully building a new thing from scratch, which I'm sure that many people can and will do. So yeah, I think this is, again, like I said, a really useful bit of rock and door. There's a lot that you can do with this to spark the imagination, and I really appreciate it. All right, so here's everything kind of reset to official, battle lines as they come in the 2 sets. So do I think that this is worth $60 as a combined item? I kind of do. I mean, when I'm looking back at the history of Lego playsets, I think of things like Maz's castle from The Force Awakens, or I think of various Hoth Echo bases and things of that sort that are around the same price as this. I do feel like this holds up as a combined thing. If you could get like use your Lego VIP points or find yourself a 10-15% discount somewhere on these, I think you're looking at a really great deal, especially when you consider the amount of awesome minifigures that you're getting with this. And what's more, this represents something that I've been just wanting from Lego for so long, which is just more interconnectivity between sets. Like, Lego is a modular system, and when we're building things that are from the same scene or from the same season of television or movie, it's just nice to be able to easily connect them together, and I think Lego doesn't take advantage of that nearly enough, and this is great to see for that. So what would be even cooler is if next year we could get 2 more sets that fit together and, help to expand this even further. Maybe we could get something with Mando and Grogu in exploring, up above on the surface level, or just something, an extra platform or a gantry you can expand this with to have the kind of final confrontation with Gideon as the Star Destroyer is crashing down and everything's blowing up. It's just, it's nice, and when you get a little taste of that modularity, you just want to add more things to it. And of course, we as LEGO fans can do that ourselves because, it's LEGO and we can just make whatever we want, but it's just nice to be able to have those official figures and official touches that we can't just produce on our own, to be able to tie those things together and make it feel like an official thing. So yeah, I desperately want more of this. And I think previous attempts at combining sets in the LEGO theme have had mixed results. Like I remember Jabba's Palace and the Rancor Pit was an interesting one where it was designed to fit together technically, but it actually didn't fit together. Like it didn't really work. So it's nice to see that this is just a very simple two bits of terrain, you click them together, and you can actually tell a little ongoing story with this of like how the battle progresses in the actual scene in the show. So I really, really appreciate that about it. And these two sets to me are an example of what LEGO should do going forward, and what I'm excited to see more of. And please, 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 LEGO, keep doing what you're doing as far as including extra hair pieces. That is great. I don't mind the blackheads for the characters that are just, no-name generic background characters. That's good. Paz, I'll give a pass to because we've never seen his face. So everything here is a blackhead except for Gideon, that has the actual facial expression and skin tone. And, it's fine. That I think works perfectly fine because this is sort of a generic battle army type of a scene. So yeah, those are kind of my full thoughts, I guess. I am excited about this wave, and I think that overpriced though everything is, we've been getting a lot of really, really great stuff. And I think The Mandalorian Season 3 is really ripe for adaptation in LEGO stuff, because it was filled with weird and wacky stuff and silly things and strange locations and stuff like that. So, it'd be nice to see more of that make its way into LEGO sets. And this is definitely a welcome for sure into an area that we've never seen before, a bunch of new figures that we've never gotten before. I mean, how cool would it be to get like the Imperial Remnant cloning room, as a battle pack, and have a bunch of Imperial Remnant generals and things populating a cool boardroom scene that you could then add onto this. Like there's so many cool possibilities of things that we could get as LEGO sets that would be really fun. So yeah, I think outside of the box LEGO, give us some more stuff to connect to the things that we already have, and let's keep this train rolling. All right, I'm gonna get to work on the next video, guys. I have so many different mocks, reviews, minifigure comparisons, and other things coming for you guys in the future. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please leave me a like and a comment if you like what I am doing here, and if you have something that you want to say, because that helps YouTube to know that you are engaging with my content and think that it is cool and good and worth engaging with. So that helps me out a lot. All right, you guys, so that's it. I'm going to get to work on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and may the force be with you.